We are on, and we got Tom Caldwell with us, or Tommy C Insta as you're known on
that's the one.
Instagram.
It's weird, isn't it? You can't just say Tommy C now because it's two.
Don't get me started on that.
So first of all, I always like to say where we know each other from. So obviously with what you do, making the videos, and we were talking before, weren't we? I sort of met you maybe at Eastridge the one time.
Yeah, it was. We were pedalling up that god awful climb. I
Yeah,
think it might
that's
have been me, and I think I was with Robbo and Matty, some local lads to us. I think we were going up that climb.
Yeah,
I think I might have saw you there, but
What's it called? Lord's Hill? Is it Lord's Hill?
Yeah, that's Snell Beach, innit?
Yeah, it was. It was there. Yeah. So you are from up north.
well, they say up north. If you look at
Yeah.
it on a map, it's still the Midlands. But
It is, isn't it? Same as here. Anyone southern thinks we're northerners, but Shrewsbury's kind of middle-ish
Shrewsbury
as well.
proper Midlands, upper class Midlands, and it's posh.
Yeah.
no, I'm Warrington, born and bred.
So just to say, anyone listening, we got Tod Leo here.
Hello.
And we've also got Leo, who...
Me.
were you national champion? I don't know if... you might have not
just
mentioned it in the last half hour.
I'm national champion.
Yeah. Anyway. So let's go back to when you grew up. Is that where you're from originally?
That was the
Yeah, so I grew up in Warrington. I've lived in a few spots in Warrington, but I'm still there.
Yeah.
If you're going up the M6 and you go for that big bridge and the viaduct near Warrington,
Yeah.
I'm right near that.
Right, okay.
But I grew up in Warrington. Can't really see myself moving too far away. It's for what I'm doing. It's too handy because, 3 hours north in Leithen, 3 hours South Wales, an hour east Sheffield, an hour west North Wales.
South Wales is only 3 hours from there.
I can get to the valleys in about 3 hours 20 minutes.
I'd have thought it was way further than that.
in the car light in the.
Oh yeah. We've got to say about the car, because I'm a bit of a petrol head, and you turned up in
a recently acquired Passat R36.
which sounds super fruity.
Yeah, I bet it's
Decent pipe, straight. Is it straight through pipe, that one?
No. We tried a straight through. It was absolutely dreadful.
Was it?
Yeah, it's horrific.
Just too loud.
Yeah, the drone was god awful. So there's like 2 resonators and 2 silencers in the back. I'm quite glad you turned into you're a petrol head, because as you'll probably find out outside of bikes, just cars. Like I said, started with that old 5 Series Gazzy B ad. We were sliding it round Welsh Fire Road, and then I was like, I'll buy this off you guys. This is fun. And then that was that. I got the disease for cars.
He's a lad, isn't he? I used to like some of the videos he used to do with and he had that Land Rover with
the Cummins converter.
that was
sick.
mega.
He did one for Affy, didn't he? He made Affy.
Yeah,
he still had it. Does he still have it? Because he used to drive around the park sometimes, but I haven't seen it in a while.
I think he does, yeah. I asked Athy and he was just like, Gaz just found this engine out of some bin wagon and put it in my Landing. I was like, oh,
It
sound.
was mad. It had like 2 massive pipes either side of like the cab that stuck up in the air.
Yeah, it was
and they were the
insane.
exhaust. It was insane. He drove around the park, it was so loud.
Just be cruising into McKinley and like the torque would just rip your face off. Like it was unbelievable.
McKinley.
I don't know how to say it. Mac? I was going to say Mac.
Mac, yeah.
But then I
always
was
say-
like,
just
I
say
think
Mac.
it's Macclesfield.
Yeah, you're safe if you say Mac.
It's amazing all the pronunciations.
Yeah.
Like.
His
got a
mum
mate
his
who
mum and
goes-
dad are sort of from there originally, weren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
So you can't get it wrong.
I can't get it
Go
wrong.
on, say,
but I still do.
say how you meant to say it.
I don't even.
Machuntleth.
Machuntleth, whatever it is.
It's Machuntleth.
Machuntleth.
Oh
Yeah.
my
You've
God.
got it- It's like silent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Silent C.
Our mate was like, oh yeah, is that around Mitch and Lee? What's that?
That's not even close.
So tell us about when you were young then, your mum and dad. What did your mum and dad do?
My mum's worked under the police for like 30 plus years.
Yeah.
My dad has a picture framing business, so he works at home with me. Completely different, but that's what they've always done.
Is that timber type stuff or metal or?
No, it's like straight up. Like, so we've had some mad stuff in our house, like signed Pele shirts. And
Oh really?
Like,
Oh, so he just frames them. He doesn't make
people
picture frames.
bring, like sentimental stuff in, and he'll frame it up, and
Oh wow.
like it sounds simple, but some of the stuff we're getting is insane, and some of the stuff that goes out the door, like.
Wow.
So I don't know why I started it. It just.
I bet that's quite a unique thing to do, and is quite a good venture to be on, isn't it?
I think he finds it quite rewarding. He's just working away in the garage, just in his own little world. So
That's a bit like Leo's dad.
Yeah, it's
what
always
he
stuff
does.
that's like really random. No one else does it, so you got no competition.
Yeah, there's
exactly.
loads of really random jobs in there out there.
Yeah, Leo's dad makes mirrors.
Oh,
He
Yeah,
makes,
not even
like,
normal
antique
ones,
mirrors.
like antique ones.
Oh,
They almost
right.
look-
They're not antique.
Dirty.
He just makes
Yeah.
new mirrors look antique.
oh right. Does he not make any of those wobbly ones you see in a theme park?
I should get him to make one.
But he sells them to like Arabs and stuff, doesn't he? For silly
yeah,
money
like
and hotels.
the
and-
Russian-
yeah, ridiculous.
The Russian royalty and all that, like, it all want them. It's really weird, like the market for it.
Oh, well, that's one thing I didn't think I'd.
And the best thing he does when he turns up with it, he'll go. He pretends to be the delivery driver, doesn't he? So they
Yeah,
can't
so
ever
they-
moan at him for anything. Oh, I don't know, mate. It's nothing to do with me. I'm just
No,
dropping
mate.
it off.
Class.
So, good childhood over there. And when did you get into bikes? What was the sort of thing that kicked that off?
Yeah, I think from as a kid, I was a proper skater kid, as I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people in bikes are, just a proper skater kid, bit of an emo kid, and then got onto the BMX.
Yeah.
And I was always a really small kid, so I could never like bunny hop or anything because I was so small on this big heavy mongoose, couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And then from BMX, so after BMX I got into track riding, so I raced at Manchester Velodrome for 3 or 4 years.
Oh wow.
That's a weird transition
complete-
from BMX to that. isn't it?
Complete switch up. I think I saw it on the Olympics or something. I was like, Dad, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And this was when I was like maybe 11 or 12. And so then I got into racing track for probably nearly 3 or 4 years, yeah.
Were you pretty good at it?
I was a sprinter, yeah. I each week I'd go to the velodrome and try and beat my personal best.
Wow.
And I wasn't really an endurance race. I was just an all-out sprinter, and I absolutely loved it. So for that bit of my life, I was racing track, and then did quite a bit of road riding to support it. And so like I had the legs.
Yeah.
And I think I've still got some
You
legs.
still,
like,
when you do something like that, what you find with a lot of people, I've got a mate who used to do sprinting for Wales, a lot older than, he's even older than me, amazingly, and I would go out with him. He used to have the Strava record round Landegla when in the old days when it was quite a lot shorter and pretty simple, and he'd do it on a single speed, and I think he did it in like 50 minutes. It was absolutely ridiculous.
that's some watts.
And his legs were absolutely huge. I've been riding with him, and he's just like a monster up the hills. And I think you never lose that, do you?
No, I think obviously I've been a bit more conditioned because I've been riding all the EWS and enduro. You get more conditioned to like bigger days out and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I go out for a full day pedaling quite happily. But when it comes to a sprint, like I can.
Yeah.
Got a good 0 to 60. Like I
wow.
always wanted to have a sprint off the mark against Jess Melamed, but I don't think we ever got it in.
Oh, really?
'Cause I think I think I could do all right.
Wow.
But I'm probably setting myself up for failure there. But it would have been a laugh.
I'm interested to see Jesse's on this year. I was like, I've heard nothing.
it come out
I'm
today.
Has it come out?
Yeah, he's on Canyon.
Oh, is he?
Oh, is he?
Oh, really?
Oh, so he's
wow.
replaced Moya,
Yeah,
pretty much.
pretty much. Yeah, he's just come out today. It was probably the worst kept secret in the industry. I don't know. You
I
boys
had no
didn't know.
idea.
Yeah.
No, we didn't know about that.
Bit like the YT team. So then you went from track and then you got onto mountain bikes. How did that transition happen?
I think because I had my track bike and my road bike, and at the same time I had this like 24-inch BMX. It was like a We the People,
Yeah.
24-inch rigid thing. It was just cruising around with a few of my mates, my best mate Aid, and then it was like I started like doing these little jumps, and I was like, hey, this is quite fun. And then I watched. I remember went in I went into Halfords and went into the DVD rack. My dad took me there, and in the DVD rack there was a cranked Revolve.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you boys have seen it.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, oh, that looks good, and it was like on offer for $5 or whatever. I was like, yeah, I'll get that. And then I watched that and just started becoming obsessed. And then then I watched Follow Me.
Yeah.
That's when, just as Follow Me came out, I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Like, we need to go and build some jumps in the woods. Like, kind of all just clicked. I was like, kind of like, I don't know, it just felt like bloody destiny or something. And then that was at the point where I was 15 or 16, and like for the track I was like a good sprinter. There was probably some potential there, but then I was like, right, and I don't want to sell my track bike and buy a hardtail. So I did that, bought a Norco hardtail, like a 2008 Norco Ride or something.
Yeah.
Started trying to build some jumps and go and do some skids in the woods, and like it was just kind of taking off. And then just as I sold my track bike, I got a letter through from British Cycling to go on the Olympic training program. So
really?
Yeah, like to start on like a junior program. And I remember having a conversation with Mum, like, oh, I'd have to go on this special diet and do all this training and all this, and like it could have gone that way if I'd not fallen for mountain bikes.
It's amazing how many people who you talk to are like pros or do, you know, whatever, they had an opportunity to do something different. Like talking to Neil Donahue, he could have been like a professional footballer.
He was pretty good at it, wasn't he?
Yeah. There's quite a few people like that who've come from other things, and they could have done really well and probably could have earned a shit ton more money as well. But it's quite nice that they end up mountain biking, which is what they love doing. It just shows it's not all about the money.
It's pretty great. Wild, and all the directions that it can go. Yeah. And at that point, I'd sold my bike. I was like, right, mountain biking it is.
Yeah.
And probably not to my mum's. Probably she wasn't probably that impressed.
Yeah.
Me go try and do jumps and all this, and that's when my dad started taking me to places and go to Landegler and all this, blah blah blah. And then,
I bet Landegler wasn't that far from you either, really, was it?
Nah, it's like 50 minutes on a good run. That it's not far, not even that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's where sort of Tod cut his teeth riding
Landegler and Cannock.
Yeah, Cannock Chase, Style Cop.
Nah, not even Style Cop.
Oh my god!
I was like 10, 11, so I was just ride the red.
Nice.
That was a weekend of riding. Loved it.
So the filming thing, Tea and Biscuits. Any mountain biker listening to this, if they don't know Tea and Biscuit, I think they've been living under a rock. How did you first get into the idea of filming? How did that come about?
So even from a kid, it all kind of makes sense when I think back. But even as a kid, I always wanted to capture everything that I was doing. So if I was on holiday, I'd make like a diary, or I'd make like a little video with my dad's camera. I always wanted to capture anything good that was happening. And then when we were like in high school, we'd try and make these like Jackass videos and stuff because we were all dead inspired by Jackass. We used to love it.
Yeah.
Cringe as if you watch it back now, but that's kind of where it came from. And then as the bikes, I got into mountain biking and stuff. I was like, oh, let's try and make some mountain bike videos. This would be good. And bought a little cheap Canon 500D. And then when I was at that point, I was first year college. Two of my mates, John Eland and Ollie Garcia, they were the OGs, and we went up the woods and did a bit of filming and stuff. And that's it. Kind of just went from there. And then my progression as like a filmer and a rider was all like on the same level, moving up, because that's kind of where it went. And then after college, let me have a look at my notes here one sec.
No worries. I can't believe you brought notes. That's so professional.
No, like I said, I've been on podcasts before, and like I'm quite bad under pressure. My brain just goes to mush. There's stuff I want to like explain about, but
and if you don't, and you get to the end, you'll be like, shit, I meant to say this, I meant to say that, and it's like
start kicking yourself. So I'll learn from my mistakes. But I'd say then I was in college, and I thought, right, there's something to this, and so that's when I would start messaging like pros and stuff. I remember first messaging, like, I tried to message like Bryceland, Sam Dale, and I messaged Harry Heath, and Harry was the only one who got back to me. And at that point, he had a deal with Da Vinci, and so we did a little video. And Harry was the first person to actually like entertain me and take me on. And Harry's a funny lad. Like,
he's a good rider.
He's a class rider, absolutely class.
Yeah.
And so some of those, well, we did one first video with Harry Heath called Smash and Dash, funnily enough, and that's still one of my favourite videos because it was like the first proper thing that I did. And then
when would that have been then?
I think that would have been. It was going into a season, so it was either probably 13.
Oh, fair while ago then. God, must have been young then.
Now, isn't it?
What were you then? You were 18, something like that. 18, 19.
Yeah, I'd have been coming out of college, so I'd have been maybe going on 18. Yeah, 18 probably. Yeah. But then, so I did the stuff with Harry, and then a few other projects here and there with some of my mates, just figuring out what the hell I was doing and stuff. Like we did a video back in the day. If you've been to Forest of Dean, you know GBU.
Yeah.
That tray, we turned up to Forest of Dean, me and two lads who ride with Rob Kennelly, who's my best mate, and then James Bradshaw. We went to GBU. We went to FOD to make a video. And then GBU had opened like the day before. Yeah. And so we were like, oh, new track, we'll film on this. And then like 3 days later, it was out on Pink Bike, and everyone was like, whoa, and like it got a really good reception.
Oh, wow.
And Forest of Dean got a free bloody GBU promotional video out of it.
That's amazing.
It's always stuff like that though, isn't it, when you're the first to get to something.
Yeah.
And like,
complete luck as well. We don't have a
it's
clue.
still fresh. People have never seen like anyone ride it yet, especially now. Like, say you're going to Dovey or something, if you make any video and film stuff, if you're not like the first person to do it, someone's probably already done it better. Like all the time when we go there, we'll get a clip, and then you see everyone gets clips in the same spots, don't they?
Yeah. Same angle, same
and it always do better if like no one's done it yet and you're the first to get to it.
Remember when we did the Atherton, how hard is Atherton's Dovey Bike Park? That was our biggest video, because we were sort of the first ones, and then there's me going down like the slab track absolutely shitting myself. And I think people like it when it's genuine fear and you're not trying to act like some sort of pro, you know what I mean? And, but that's along the lines of how different it is from you being a proper, what I'd call a proper film editor, and then like we're vloggers. I always think that's such a different thing.
It is a different kettle of fish, but at the end of the day, it's all kind of the same, but it's just made differently. Yeah. Like aimed at different people. I don't know, but it's still the same kind of.
I think if you're a proper decent editor and you're trying to do 2 vlogs a week, you'd be so busy. You just have no time, because it takes so much longer, doesn't it, to do a proper edit than to just produce a vlog.
Yeah, it depends. I don't know. People all work in different ways, but if I go out for, say, a pretty normal project would be to go and make a 2.5 to 3 minute video, spend 2 to 3 days filming it, and then 2 days editing.
2 to 3 days filming it?
Usually do 2 filming days, maybe 3.
Really?
And then probably 2 to 2.5 days editing.
Wow, that's incredible.
Wow, I didn't think it'd take that long. I thought it was just 1 day filming and then...
No. Well, I mean, it depends what time of year and where you are. Because in the winter, like where did we go? I went to Ireland to do a video with Ronan, and because it was approaching winter, days were really short, weather was shite. And... that downhill video we did, that was shot over nearly 4 days.
Wow.
Because
that was nuts.
it come out so good. I was buzzing with it, but like that was a case of getting to. It took 4 days because we went to each spot and just cherry picked all the good spots. So we went to this wood, 3 or 4 clips here. Drove over here, 3 or 4 clips here, and that's when it can. Because we wanted the standard really, really high, so we were like, right, we're only filming the best stuff here. Like we're not. So that's. Like I say, usually 2 or 3 days filming.
One of the things I tend to avoid it now because I'm a bit more sort of clued up on mentioning places than not mentioning certain places. Have you got in any shit over the time for filming certain places and people going, oh, I can't believe you filmed here, I didn't want people to know about this? So, bearing in mind we have.
Touch wood, not really.
It's sort of different though, isn't it? Because it's just like a short section of the track, whereas a vlog, you can see you going into the trail, riding the full trail and everything around it.
Yeah, I think we've been quite careful with that because obviously a lot of the spots we may have been to may be on the wrong side of the law, so you just never mention the spot name. You just make it look like every other wood. And you be a little bit more, not so much covert, but you just
don't film like a road.
Yeah, just be sensible with it. We haven't really. I'm trying to think actually. I know of people who've got in the shit for filming like on parts of the peaks, which is like protected and stuff like.
We've had shit. We've had to more in the old days. I've had to remove videos. I've had emails off certain organisations. I've recently just had an email off of forestry.
Yeah.
I filmed some mates, or I might have filmed some mates,
Myself,
at a certain place where they were digging a trail, and I got a full-on legal letter off the forestry and just saying like.
It says you need to apply for a permit if you
they're trying to get me to apply for
land again.
Yeah, and I just removed the video straight away and just emailed back nicely, said sorry, said I won't film people digging again. But it's things like you don't really think about it, and then afterwards you're like, oh shit, of course it is, it is actually against the law.
It's because you just get you don't get numb to it, but it's like you're just so involved with all this digging and like riding or whatever. It's just kind of like, oh, this is just what people do, but then it's not really.
No,
we've done quite well. You just we've had a few permits and stuff and had to fill out a lot of forms and stuff because for the most part we want to be legit, because some of these projects are like got decent budgets from big brands, so like you have to be legit, you have to make sure. But like back in the day you'd just go and do it and get away with it usually. And
it's crazy how on top it gets, and with trail diggers as well. There's certain spots like I won't say where it is, but it's not far from Bala, and if you go there and film, oh my god. I did I did a vlog from there near a lake, and I didn't even show entries and exits, and there was no way you could know where it was, and still one of the trail builders tried to give me some stick. They were like, I can't believe you filmed here, blah blah. Really? And I was like, mate, you can't tell. The only people who will know where it is are people who know where it is.
Yeah.
No one's going to look at that video and go, oh, I know where that is, because they don't. And
the thing is with that is, like, obviously a trail builder is passionate about the track and stuff, but it's not even their land.
I know.
Anyone can do, well, obviously illegally, anyone can do anything they want. You can go and ride it, and obviously you can respect what they've done, and you're not telling people where it is and all this kind of stuff, but like at the end of the day anyone can ride any track. They just have to be respectful, and I'm sure you guys are, but it's like if you turned up and been like, right, if you go down the A31 here and then turn left, like obviously then you're a tit, but
yeah, we keep everywhere where you don't want people to know. We keep it either secret or just don't show, entries and
even
exits.
Things like if you Strava, just put it private.
Exactly.
People can just look on there and then you got the whole thing.
It's just a case of just mutual respect between riders and people in the industry. Some people break that, unfortunately, but a lot of people will respect it. It's like I do my best. Even we filmed at a lot of spots where the diggers I've put a lot of graft in, and like treat it as their own, and obviously like we ask them, make sure it's okay. Like a lot of the times I'm like, look, we want to film here. You can come down. I'll get you some clips. Like as a thank you. We try to keep it as nice as possible for everyone.
So when you were getting into it and when you started filming, was there any other mountain bike filmers that you sort of, or or mountain bike films that you looked up to and thought, oh, I love that, that gave you sort of inspiration?
I think I was part of that wave of kids who loved the Coastal Crew.
Yeah.
I was part of that, and all the films they made, we were just really inspired by the films, the lifestyle, like what they were portraying. I think the whole world was. People were obsessed with those guys and what they did. So I was part of that wave, and Follow Me, loved that.
Any of the old Sprung stuff?
No.
Is that a bit?
Honestly, no.
Too
because
he's in it. Because he's in it.
yeah.
Not a fan.
Little bit hairstyles, isn't it?
People think I might be like a Sprung super fan, but I wrote this down actually. I didn't watch a full Sprung or Earth film until 2018, until
Really?
Joel Anderson sat me down and was like, right, we'll put Sprung on. I think we might have been on a Whistler trip or something, but that was the first time he'd ever...
Which one did you watch?
I can't even remember now. I've definitely watched them all now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was 2018 the first time I watched one, and I was like, oh Jesus, like now I kind of like see
Yeah.
the style, and I was like, oh, this was a thing.
That was
like,
obviously that was when we were riding. That was what we looked up to as the films. They were brilliant,
Go on, tell him, Dad.
Good
tell him.
music. Yeah, me and Stu got in like Sprung 2 quite a lot, doing some daft presenting and going around taking the piss out of people. But I literally cannot watch that now. It makes me cringe. Oh, it's horrible.
class.
You
Well, yeah,
got
those
devil
films.
hair
Like,
horns cut into your hair and everything.
Yeah, the hairstyles were amazing. That's brilliant.
as
Oh
if,
yeah,
but
it was terrible.
they were like, I only got into mountain biking in like 2011, so like all the stuff I was getting into was all this cinematic kind of Canadian vibe stuff. Like anything before that, I was just like, why would I be like, I'm not that asked about that. I'm asked about all this cool stuff that's happening
So
now.
what about, the other thing that I was thinking along those lines is, do you take influence off, I don't know, some sort of TV programs or any decent films from now or from the, do you look at them and just look at the way they're edited and get ideas?
I would say I got inspired a lot by the Props Road Fools, the BMX stuff back in the day. Used to watch that all the time. Loved that style. So that was ingrained in my head from a young age, and I was watching all skate videos, street BMX videos. I was obsessed with that kind of stuff. But then as far as TV and film, like, not so much. Like, I'm not really it sounds strange, but I'm not really a film guy.
Yeah.
Like, here and there, like, I like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, all the stuff I grew up with, but then like TV, I'm sure you boys don't watch much TV either, but you just watch stuff online.
Yeah, that's it.
That's just...
You can't really like take inspiration from Star Wars for a mountain bike video, can you?
Well, no.
Bit of a stretch.
No, I don't really... If I was to watch films, it's like an escape or something. It's not like I go on that and I'm like, right, I'm going to look at how this is edited and apply it. All the inspiration kind of comes from what I grew up with, kind of, and then I just mash it into, like, in my head, I'm like, right, what would I want to see? And I'm making what I want to see. So
Did you ever see them old IFHT videos?
Yeah, they were good. They were really good.
Yeah, they used to like have red cameras and that, and they're like British Columbia, and the shit they used to come out with was amazing. Like,
yeah, that was Matt Dennison.
like,
he's a genius.
Yeah, amazing. Like filming.
Yeah, it's all like
Proper
that. Like
pro,
sort of
innit?
bridges the gap, doesn't it, between sort of a vlog and more your type of stuff with the like filming.
Yeah,
They must
they
take
kept
so
it funny.
long to make.
Oh, I think those boys knew exactly what they were doing though. They were
Yeah, they were pro, weren't they? They were pro.
I've got some homework for you for after this.
Oh yeah.
I want you to, when you get home, you can probably get it online, get a copy of, if you haven't seen it, On Any Sunday. It's literally my favourite. It's motorbikes, but it's from the 1970s.
Okay.
And it's got like Steve McQueen and people like that in it, and it's
Somebody else
absolutely
told
amazing.
me to watch this.
It's It's what got me into biking and motorbike. It's so good, and it's like super chilled out. It's made by a bloke called Bruce Brown, who did all the surfing videos in the 70s, dead famous, and he like follows all these motorbikers around the US as they do all the national series, and it's so good.
Ratboy did a post the other day, didn't he? Like clip of them all doing some little jump on the motorbikes on the road, and he put the tune over it that's on any Sunday tune, and I was like, you commented like best film, and someone must have thought it was like something he'd done, something Rat Boy had done. This like 15-year-old kid replied, "Oh, what film is it?"
So on any Sunday, check it out. Right, so what about like for the filming geeks or the editing geeks? What equipment do you have, and how did you learn to edit, and what are you editing on?
Okay, so to start with just all the gear.
Yeah.
So at the moment, camera setup is Sony PXW Z280, which is my main big camcorder.
Yeah.
Which is all the pan and zoom kind of stuff, and then I've got a Canon C70 for like cine kind of lifestyle-y, nice looking product stuff. And then I have the good old DAG cam, which is, and it's about yay big. I know there's a transfer on audio, but got that from a fella in Crewe for 25 quid off Facebook Marketplace.
Is that like what you were using for a while?
Like last year, I bought a camcorder for like 30 quid off Marketplace and bought a fisheye lens off eBay for like 15 quid and taped it onto the end.
This boy knows.
We taped on the
But we filmed like a load of stuff over a year.
We had a sick edit going, and then you just couldn't be asked.
The idea was we got to the end of the year and we were like, oh, we'll put it all together, it'll be sick. But because we'd all like got so much better over the year, all the stuff from the start was shit. And we're like, there's no point doing this anymore.
There's amazing clips on there that were just lost though.
Yeah, there was
just like funny shit from the races, because it was like brought to every race as well.
Nice.
So
it's good to hear boys buying a DAG camera, fisheye, cracking on instead of just getting phone clips and stuff. No, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. But apart from that's the camera setup at the moment.
Yeah. And what about your editing suite? What do you use, and how did you learn? All self-taught?
Yeah, pretty much. I've used Adobe Premiere all my life. Tried a few other softwares in uni, but never really got on with it.
Do you edit on a Mac?
Yeah.
So our biggest mistake, and I'll still say this, is like when I learnt to air quote edit, I learned on Sony Vegas on a PC, and now I wouldn't have a clue how to work a Mac, even though I'd love one. And we got Premiere, didn't we? And neither of us could get a fucking heads around it at all.
I started to work it out, but I was so slow with it, because it's so different from Vegas. And the only reason I've had Vegas for ages, since I was like probably 12. I got it to make some shit video me and my mates made, and it's the only thing I could get for free, because I managed to download like a cracked one online.
Nice.
And I've just used that ever since. That was why Dad started on it. It was because he got a computer and he's like, oh, what did I get? I was like, oh, I can get you this one for free, we'll try this. And we just used it ever since.
Yeah. And then we did buy it in the end, but it is compared to like Premiere Pro, and it's very basic.
The free one just kept crashing. We lost so many vlogs.
Yeah,
I think every software does, even with the latest version of Premiere. It's still it's great. I've had times where it's just so buggy.
Yeah,
like some updates are great, some are awful.
The most annoying thing about having a PC is you got to have WeTransfer Pro to get the clips on there. Whereas if you got Apple, you just airdrop it all, don't you?
Yeah, I've been on Premiere ever since the start. Mac for maybe probably like 6 years now. But my dad was the same. He got on Mac the other year, going from PC, and he was just like, "Oh, how'd you work this?" And I was like, "It's not that difficult. Like, you'll get your head around it." But
they're actually like more simple. I think there's like
it's just
less things to do, aren't they?
Just different user interface. Like you soon get used to it. But, but I think I'm pretty much self-taught. But like I say, I went to uni. But even before uni, I knew how to edit. I'd just downloaded like trial Premiere or whatever, and just I think I started paying for it pretty early on, because I knew I was going to spend a lot of time on it, and then started learning all the shortcuts and stuff like that, and got to uni, and I didn't really, I mean, I did learn bits at uni, but...
What uni did you go to?
I went to Chester University,
Yeah.
but the Warrington campus, which was
Right.
12 minutes from my house.
Oh, brilliant.
And that was the campus that specialised in like TV production and photography.
Is that what you did at uni? Was it just
Yeah, it was-
media?
Yeah, it was TV production combined with photography, like a dual honours thing.
And while all this is going on, I take it you're still riding a lot, and is there, or was there at the time, a good scene around your area?
Yeah, through uni, what was that, like 18, 19, 20 years old? Like I was riding a lot. At that point I probably had like an Orange Alpine 160 or Kona Entourage or something along those lines. Just out riding every weekend. Went into uni, did my work, came home, didn't want anything to do with the uni lifestyle at all. And still don't. Like, I just never wanted to do any of that, because I knew the next day I'd be riding or filming or working on something or out with my mates. Like,
I think that's a bit like these lads at school. Is like, obviously they left now, but like last year when they were at school, they got all the school lads would go down the park and get pissed and all that, and they just wanted to go on their bikes, didn't they?
No, I miss prom to go riding.
Good lad.
I wasn't keen on that.
Yeah.
Good lad. But yeah, that was kind of what was going on at uni. And then second year uni, I was getting bits of freelance work.
Yeah.
From Dirt, which we can get onto in a minute, and then it'll all make sense. But so that was second year uni. I started with freelance bits and bobs. Went to Maribel World Cup finals that year. Came home, and then I had a part-time job at JTF, which is like a big cash and carry warehouse.
Yeah.
And I was just like, sod this, and just left and set up as a sole trader, self-employed.
Yeah.
And then that was that. And then the rest of uni, I was like, well, I might as well finish it. But honestly, and this is where Dirt comes in. So second year of university, I had to do a work placement. And I wanted to go to BBC or ITV, because that was, so my university kind of fed Media City in Manchester. So I wanted to get in. That's why I was doing a TV production degree. I was like, I want to start doing TV. I don't know what in TV, but I wanted to do something in that. And then looking at work placement, and I was like, right, I'm into bikes, like, and so I was messaging like MB UK, like MBR, Dirt, just sending emails. And then do you know Dave Jacquin?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he
So
was
Dave-
Dirt. What was it he did at Dirt? I remember
He was
Dave.
like one of the editors, like deputy editors or
That's
whatever.
right.
But Dave got back to my email, and he was like, "Oh, let me ask Mike Rose. We might want a T-boy." And I was like, "Oh, here we go." And then Dave was like, "Yeah, you can come down." And he was like, "How long's it for?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a 5-week placement." He was like, 5 weeks, bloody hell. I was like, "Yeah, that's what it is. Sorry." And then I went down to Monmouth for 5 weeks. Stayed in a little B&B for 5 weeks.
5 weeks in a
Yeah,
B&B.
it's quite. Yeah, but my uni paid for it, so I was like, "Oh."
So what were you
Easy.
filming with Dirt then?
So I got into the placement. Is that Ian?
That's that's the dog's wifey has arrived.
What was it? I got to the placement, and funny story actually, I'll get back to it in a minute. I turned up at the Dirt office. I didn't have a clue what Dirt was like or what the mountain bike industry was like at that point. So I turned up in like a shirt and tie, thinking it was that type of place. And it was just, I walked in, and like Dave and like James McKnight and Steve Jones were all there looking half homeless.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, Jesus. I remember Ben Winder looking at me for the first time, like, who is this kid and what the hell is he doing? And so I lost the shirt and tie after like 2 or 3 days, and then it actually came in an appropriate wear. But they were just having me do like little photo bits for the site and like little video bits, and just kind of, and then making brews for everyone.
Yeah.
Teaching me how to make a proper cup of tea.
So that's... Is that where the ideas come from?
No, I've just always been.
Oh, I should film this.
Every day I just have tea and biscuits. So I just that's where the name come from. I was just obsessed with it, still am. But
I like that though in the videos when you get everyone's like different things. Oh, how do you do it? What biscuit do you have?
So,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
good.
actually one of
Raw,
the
innit?
questions. So we're going to get that question out now. How do you think is the correct way to make a cup of tea, and what's your favourite biscuit?
Oh god, this is a bit of a controversial one. My girlfriend Amy, like, she hates me for this, absolutely hates me. But I have like medium strength, but I have it quite milky. Like,
Oh my god.
yeah, this is.
You've offended him.
I might as well just leave now.
Yeah.
But I have it quite milky, and then
There's
I
two
made a
doors.
list actually. I made a list of my favourite biscuits. one
Yeah,
sec.
I asked you for the top 5, didn't I?
No, I made a list. It's got to be hobnobs, occasional shortbread. Those little Viennese things there, good dippers, and
Yeah.
then digestives are always good.
Yeah.
No bonbon. I know what they're called. Not bonbons. They're sweets. What the ones with the bourbon? That's it.
Ooh,
They're sick.
Biscoff are the best ones, I think.
oh, that's
Yeah,
a shame.
Biscoff,
I tried
Biscoff.
that, actually.
Yeah, Biscoff's good.
Yeah, my
But
Mrs.
Earl
Amy, she
Grey.
hates me for that.
Yeah, Leo.
Earl Grey.
Leo's
mate.
house is just Earl Grey. It's really
Earl
weird.
Grey, inspired by Daniel.
Earl
Craig.
Grey, you have to have 2
amazing.
tea bags in, or it doesn't taste them. It just tastes of flowers. It just tastes like you've taken a load of flowers out the garden.
I have to have honey
I'm
in my
natural
tea.
with it.
I like honey in it.
Nah, mate. You got it
Sweet.
raw.
I had
No sugars.
I went to a shop in Manchester actually and got this rhubarb and custard tea.
Yeah.
Sounds dreadful, honestly great.
Really?
Really?
Good. Yeah, I had rhubarb and custard tea
That's
for a while.
weird.
That was
Do you ever
nice.
drink herbal tea? Like
Herbal.
lemon and ginger. My mum's well keen on that.
Green
It's like
tea's
weird.
alright, but
Yeah, but you're from the
No.
posh end of town, so you have all posh stuff.
The posh end of
Golden-
town.
It is
Golden
posh.
leaves in it and everything.
So I think this is. Bear in mind, I'm like also landscape gardener, stroke builder, so it's like builder's tea. Hot water directly on the tea bag, no milk in it. So if you put the milk in strange,
no,
you
that's correct.
Yeah.
yeah, you should be shot if you put the
Yeah.
milk in
Alright.
first. Let it brew. Take the tea bag out, then add the milk, but it's got to be strong. That's
Yeah.
how I make a cup of
Jim's
tea.
doing it right.
Yeah.
I'll have one like that. I like a
Yeah,
strong brew.
yeah. But people who put the milk in first, like my wife over there, and every time she does it, I'm like, "What are you doing?" And it's weird.
It's a bit of a sin, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's wrong.
So back to Dirt. You're there working for Jonesy and Dave. Obviously, I know these boys because I worked for Dirt years and years ago before them lot. I never went to the Dirt offices, even though it was before then. That was it was down south somewhere when I worked for him.
Was that a different publisher? Was that?
Yeah, 4130. And that was the BMX Ride and Dig magazine. So were you shooting? Did you end up shooting the videos where Jonesy would do like little reviews and showcases of bikes and stuff? Were you with them when they did that?
I don't think I did much. I don't think I did much with Jonesy at all. My main memory of Jonesy is going to Fort William that year. Actually, I was unlucky enough to share a hotel room with him.
Likes to drink, doesn't he?
Oh my! I cannot tell you. I've no words for how that bathroom smelled in the morning.
Yeah.
I was like, "You are a revolting human being, and I am leaving right now."
Me and Stu, when we used to do the Welsh Dragon races back in the day, we always used to go and stay at Jonesy's house.
Yeah.
And it was mental. It was in the middle of the countryside and God knows where, somewhere in Wales. And you'd be in the house and a chicken would be walking on the side in the kitchen. It was like proper hillbilly.
No
And
way.
I remember the one night me and Stu were kipping in this tiny little caravan outside, and I think may have had something to do with the chicken on the side. We'd eaten something, and I got food poisoning in the middle, and I was literally shitting through the eye of a needle. Oh, it was horrendous.
Ring of fire.
And I called him a Jippo. I said, "Fucking hell, Jonesy, it's a right Jippo," or something like that. And he went mental. He goes, "Don't you call me a fucking Jippo." But yeah, I love Jonesy. Whenever I see him, he comes and gives me a big hug. But he's mad as a box of frogs.
Love him to pieces. He's an absolute icon. But Jesus Christ, he's something else.
Yeah. When he drinks, like, watch out.
Unbelievable. But no, I didn't really feel much with him there. I was just doing like product based stuff, and then just bits and bobs for the website at that point. And then that was when I was still trying to film, like I was trying to emulate like Coastal Crew stuff. I wanted to shoot like really fancy looking artsy stuff, and then Dave Jacken was like, right, here's a camcorder, try and use this. And then I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's down to Dave.
Oh, well done.
He did
What's he doing now?
Dave, he worked for Seven for a while.
Yeah, that's
Protection.
right.
I'm not sure what
I
he's doing
tried
now,
to do that job before him.
Oh, right.
I got it off, what's his name? Matt Yo, who was like the boss, one of the bosses. He goes, it was early in the days of media, and he goes, can you do our social media? Because it was sort of sponsored by Royal. And I was like, yeah, I'll have a go. Didn't have a fucking clue. And I tried to do it for about a week, and then I ended up just saying, mate, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. And then Dave, who obviously knew what he was doing, took over, and it was like a proper job for a while.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing now, but yeah, he took me on and did, like, I literally owe everything to Dave.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, he gave me a camcorder. He was like, oh, try this. And so I started using this good old camcorder they had at Dirt, and then ended up buying my own little camcorder after that, and then it just went from there.
I remember something Dave told me, and it always sticks in my mind, and I'll never forget it. And it was early in the days of getting, like, you know, when you're trying to blag stuff and trying to get sponsorship and freebies. And I'll never forget him saying to me, he goes, you'll never pay the mortgage with a set of handlebars. So he's like saying, product isn't everything, you need to be chasing the money.
Yeah.
And it was just that saying, I don't know why, it always sticks in my head. So I just thought I'd get that out. Thanks, Dave, if you're listening. I'm still getting handlebars. So how did you like transition from Dirt to Tea and Biscuits? Where did you get the idea, and how long did it take to work on it? And
from Dirt, I'll kind of go chronologically, just so it makes a bit more sense. From Dirt, they put me in touch with Ben Reed, who ran the Dirt race team.
Yeah.
This was 2014, 15, 14. Yeah, put me in touch with there, so I got work through them and went to some races and stuff. And then it's still at that time I was like, oh, Dave, I would love to make a full film, because I always wanted to make long films. And then he was like, yeah, we can do it, but we just need to have a bit of a think. And I knew that waiting a year or two would do a world of good, because I could get a better camera, I could get better skills, I could get better contacts. So I waited a little bit of time, and then we were like, right, let's make a film. And I wanted to call it like a British lesson on riding a bicycle, or something like patriotic, kind of like that. And then they were like, oh no, too wordy, which it was. And then it was Dave who also came up with like, oh, what about, like, we were on about foods, and then he was like, what about pie, or British pie? And then that was that. So with that, and then we started on the British Pie films, which we did 3 of consecutive years.
You filmed them with Liam in it. Liam, what's his name? Long brown hair.
Neeson?
Yeah, the long brown hair.
Oh, he helped on...
Yeah, he helped on a few of them, didn't he?
He helped on like 2-3 sections maybe, but British Pie end to end was just... Same, and Tea and Biscuits is pretty much just me. I'm doing almost everything, which I like to keep that way, because I don't know, it's my brainchild. I kind of I will get help where I need it, but
them films were sick.
British Pie,
they were. I used to watch.
Yeah, we kind of went a bit wild with them.
I used to watch them so much. They were amazing.
That's good to hear off boys like your age as well, because like I say, I've got 10 years on you boys, so I don't know what kids are watching these days. I thought you're all on TikTok, not watching British Pie. So.
My favourite one, well, there's 2 favourites of mine as well. One of Jono, where it's got that
Road Gap.
Yeah, the Road Gap is that sick tune as well. The tune goes so well with it, and then there's one with a tank, and then it goes on to
Rap Boy like falls off a cliff
into a stream. That riding was unreal. It was sick.
Yeah, that I honestly thought he'd kind of gone off the edge and kind of pulled up and just landed like flat bottom.
He gets up and he's like, that was gnarly, bro.
The next thing he said to me is he was like, I'm going home and I'm going for a bath. I was like, okay, you go, because he just had the absolute fright of his life. Me and Ben Winder, the photographer, thought that was it.
Yeah,
like
it was a big like drop as well.
I think that's about I don't know,
Like 15 foot,
15, 16 feet to a stream.
He's a rare breed, isn't he, Rat Boy?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was funny, if you watch that clip back, he dropped off a wall onto a bank, hit the path, and as he was going to do it, I was like, are you going to stop on this path? And he was like, oh yeah, I've got a shorty or something, she'll hook up. She did not hook up. He understood.
Yeah.
So loose, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah.
How he rides.
From British Pie, that kind of helped, like, push my name into the spotlight and get on with some other brands, and then the brand work kind of just rolled on from there.
Did you get sponsorship for your first films, like the British Pies and stuff?
Yeah, so...
How did you go about getting that?
So because these films were for dirt, so
Yeah.
I just made the films, and they were factory media at the time, so they were a big corporation in London.
Yeah.
They had contacts, and so they helped get the budget in and obviously pay for the film and then make themselves a bit of dough or whatever. But each film had its own set sponsors, and then by the end we had quite a few at the end. We had Monster on board for the second one, the third one, which was like absolute dream come true. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. But and then from British Pies, brand work kind of got better and better. I did a few more years in the World Cup and then had a break. And then from there, I just kind of kept developing like my style and skills and identity.
Yeah.
And I knew it was like a brand in itself, and like just made sure I could be as like my identity, and I don't know how to say it.
I bet it
Your
felt...
style of filming.
Kind of.
You must have felt quite proud doing all that and getting a real good rep for yourself and people loving all the films.
Yeah, it was a strange one. I was just so focused on making films because it's what I just loved to do, and just getting all these like riders involved, and people wanted to be involved. That was the mad thing. I was just like, I'm just making some funny films here with some good riding in, and then people believed in it and people loved it, and then the premiere events were great. That was the most rewarding bit, when people come to your event and sit down and watch a film, and
wow,
and because a lot of it's just daft ideas in my head.
That must be, I always imagine that must be one of the coolest things, is once you get that reputation, you don't even have to search out riders, they'll come to you, I should imagine.
Yes and no. Like, people do ask to get involved, and then if I can fit them into a video somewhere or a film segment, I can. But like, I try and keep my standards really, really high. So for like film sections and stuff, I'll like hand pick certain people, and there's so many good riders, and there's lots more.
There's
riders.
always a couple in the videos, isn't there, who are like under the radar, and then it's sort of
the type of
that guy on that Team Biscuits, he's sick.
Oh, Ewan Thompson,
Yeah,
Scottish guy.
He's so
and
good around the corner.
that Scouse lad, the one who had the massive crash on Page, he gave him a bite.
Yeah, the Wolf. He's
Does he still ride?
the Wolf. Now he's into some sketchy shit now, like, but the Wolf, yeah,
I'm just
they're the
looking
type
now,
of
they've
people
got-
that try and kind of help out, and they're the type of people who I can use my reach and platform and name to give them the spotlight. That's why Ewan Thompson and Team Biscuits got a section, because no one really knows his name, apart from the Scots, obviously. And I was like, this guy's unbelievable on a hardtail. And then the likes of like Joel Anderson, Josh Cleave, like Ant Hale even, and probably quite a few others who you kind of like almost talent spot, and you're like, wow, these guys are good.
Yeah.
This guy deserves his own video. This guy like
Darren Evans on a hardtail, what
There
an
you go.
absolute lunatic.
And that
Sky,
Anastasis, the one on the fucked
Yeah.
bike in Greece.
oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm just looking now. It's got, the second slice of British Pie's got 850,000 views.
I think that
That's
was
not on an hour-long video as well. That's insane.
the British Pies did do really well.
They were
And then-
insane. Best mountain bike video, honestly.
Oh well,
If
I
you
don't know
watch
about
it,
that, but
it was amazing. I used to just constantly watch all of them. Like, literally, I used to just repeat. I'll have them on repeat.
Fanboy.
I was.
that's wild. That's wild.
How long would one of those take you to edit with all that hour long
British Pie? Each British Pie was shot in about 4 or 5 months, no, maybe 6 months. It wasn't long.
And was that what you were doing at the time, full time?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I've finished I think we finished a World Cup season or season, and then as soon as the season ended, we'd get stuck in.
Just the whole winter.
We'd film like October to February or March. It'd come out in March or April. So and really for an hour long film, that's a really short. So I had to sort all the days, made sure all the riders were available on the right days.
Jesus Christ.
Do all the travelling, get everyone together, make sure you get what you need. I would source like all the music, I would pull everything together, and then in like 7 months it'd be together and done and ready.
So how would you like
MZ Boom Bap, don't you?
Yeah.
How would you like go through editing it? Do you do each bit
as I go?
Each bit as you go along, yeah. And then just link them all up.
Generally, if I shoot something over, say, we go and shoot for 2 days, as soon as I get back, I would edit the bulk of it together while it's fresh in my head. I'd already have a soundtrack in mind or some soundtrack options.
Yeah.
It'd put it together, so it's mostly there. I wouldn't finish it off, I would come back to it. So I'd come back to the bulk, watch it through again and be like, right, and then I'd make my final tweaks.
Wow. How do you go about with copyrighted music? I've often wondered about it, because I've been pulled up on it a couple of times on YouTube because I try to avoid it.
Yeah, it really depends. Back in the day when we were just doing videos on Pink Mic and stuff like that, like we'd just use whatever we want, because obviously Pink Mic didn't have any, you couldn't get caught on there.
Right.
And we weren't a lot of the stuff we were doing back in the day wasn't sponsored videos. It was just riding videos. We just used whatever we want because it was a good song. But
yeah,
I knew at some point you'd have to be legit going forward. And then British Pies, most of that stuff is just like either copyright free, and they let us license the odd song when we had the budget. So I would go through like small record labels and stuff to get it licensed, which can be expensive, and also a ball ache. And then like the past, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years, a lot of copyright free stuff now can be quite good if you know where to look. So depending on people's budgets or where the video's going, you can just get a good copyright free song. But for both Team Biscuits films, that's all sourced off Bandcamp.
Right.
So I go onto Bandcamp for like 3 or 4 days and I'll search out good unsigned bands. A lot of people ask me this actually. This is how I get good soundtracks that match riding, that's like grungy and cool. And like go on Bandcamp, find a load of unsigned bands, send them a message, say you're going to get good exposure, we can offer you whatever X amount of money, and most of the time they will be keen. And then I send them like a contract, a pretty simple contract, send them the dough and the buzzing. There's no record labels to go through, there's no bollocks to go through, and a lot of the time unsigned artists with that type of music isn't registered.
Right.
So YouTube doesn't know what it is.
Flag it up.
Doesn't know what it is. We've had a few that have been a ball ache on Team Biscuits, but we've got around that. But that's where I find my music.
Tod, like I said before, when we're editing, Tod puts a lot more effort into his edits, and he'll use a lot more music than me. And you've got a way around some of it with YouTube.
Nah, it's like
you just like mixes and shit, don't you?
Yeah, I'll go like, I don't know, we don't really use much music, but if I do like sort of a filmy bit in the middle of a vlog, I just go on like an old Shy FX set or something, and you just get, because you can see where it's copyrighted, can't you? Because it comes up in the description what songs are and at what time. So if there's like a big gap in it where there's no copyright, you can just use any of that, because it doesn't really matter with Pinned. It doesn't get enough views for him to like want to sue you for putting it in. If anyone ever found out, and no one would find out. They're all sets from like early 2000s, late 90s.
Okay.
No one's gonna care.
Yeah,
it's easy then.
That's still what I do going forward. I can offer like copyright free stuff, or I know like a lot of bands around the world now that I can just message and be like, yo, can we use this song? Here's some dough, and they're just like, yeah, absolutely. And then And then, like you say, that MZ Boom Bap.
He's sick.
First Tea and Biscuits, I found him on Bandcamp and messaged him.
The Cade, yeah.
Yeah, replied straight away. He was so keen. He was like, yeah, here's all my music, just use what you want. I was like, oh my God. And like, this guy's quite big on Spotify now, I think. He gets quite a lot of
nostalgic, or whatever it is, that tune that's big.
It got used in, it was on the Specialised, the Stump
Stumpy,
Jumper when it got released. They used one of his tunes. I
That was
remember
probably me, yeah.
Yeah, it probably was.
I don't know anyone else using his stuff for mountain biking, so...
So what sort of, other than your own films, I mean, I noticed today that you've got that one that came out that we were talking about before with Craig Evans. What sort of other work are you getting?
So outside of the films and stuff, I'm either... The past 4 years I've been doing the EWS with Rocky Mountain, so that takes up most of my summer. And then I'm doing lots of brand work for like Nuke Proof, Specialised UK. Who's ringing me? Luke Cryer. Sorry, Luke. You're gonna have to wait. I do bits for like Nuke Proof, Specialised, like Juice Lubes, and lots of UK brands, and kind of branching out to other brands now. It's and then at the moment lots for Vital. Like they let me just
the Vital Raws are so
they
good.
just let me crack on with the Raws, which is sick.
Well,
and then apart from that, there's not really much else. 95% bikes, all mountain biking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're still enjoying it? Do you ever find it a chore and you're like, oh God, I'm getting piss wet through, I've had enough of this?
No, not really, to be honest. Like some mornings I'm just like, oh Jesus Christ, it's 5:30, I can't be arsed.
Yeah.
But then an hour later, once I've had a brew, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is sound. Like,
Yeah.
Could be
Is there any times where it's like you're filming something with someone and they keep having to redo something, not doing it right, gets to a certain point where you're like, is this gonna happen?
It depends what some people are doing. Like some people are going for like, it reminds me actually that Cade section Tea and Biscuits from MZ Boom Bap, he was going for we were filming this section, it was like a mellow takeoff, and he was doing like a 3 into Manny.
Is this at Revs? Is this the one at Revs?
At Revs,
Yeah.
3
It's
to
like
Manny.
the most bodge shit ever. It's insane. Like it's just looks like he's just learnt it on the spot when he does it. 'Cause he just does it so fast, and like
It looks
it
looks like he's button mashing. He's so
that's what. It looks like he's in a video game.
just spamming buttons and hoping for the
No
best.
way.
He's so good.
But yeah, he did that day, and I remember he was trying it for a long time, and I'm quite happy to stand there and wait until if someone really wants to do something, they'll stand there like all day if they want to try and get it. But it got to a point where that was a point where he's just like, nah, and then the rider, because I'll wait, and unless we're on a really big time crunch, I'll just wait, because it could be an absolute banger. But that was and then I think some riders are really good for the camera, so like they'll ride something, and then the second or third time they'll ride it, they'll absolutely nail it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like that, to be fair, because camera like makes people push on a bit more. Sometimes that's a bad thing, because like it can get out
Have you had
of
any
hand.
people have absolute hugies whilst you've been on
That
filming?
Robbo snapped his leg.
Yeah,
didn't
the 3 standouts that I can remember is the worst one was Robbo in that hardtail video. We're in the lakes with Brayton. I can't remember what the spot's called.
Was that for Nuke Proof?
The scout in the
his
back.
ankle, yeah.
Yeah, it was the
he?
scout
The
video.
video's horrible.
Yeah, and he just kind of goes up high over the roots, cuts inside, and the root kind of jams his crank or pedal, and then on the other side it kind of, you have to
It
watch
doesn't
it.
even really look like a big crash, does it?
He
And
almost
then-
like comes down, like hits, and like the crank, and it goes between the frame, and it kind of, the only way for it to go is like through the leg. So,
Oh God.
so that was the worst for sure. But he just turned around. He like barely was even in pain. He was just sat in the ambulance making jokes to everyone and laughing. That's hilarious.
Yeah, ankles are weird though. When I did mine, you didn't really feel like much, like at all. It's weird. And then when you do like something like your back, you just out of it. Like you can't do anything.
When I
Can't
did
even
my
think.
ankle at Forest of Dean, I fell off a really pathetic crash, and my right foot went into like a rabbit hole as I was sliding, and it twisted it right round, fractured dislocation.
It's horrible to think of.
And when I did it, I was, you have like a weird I was lying there and I looked at it like if you look down and imagine both your feet are supposed to point at 12 o'clock, my right one was pointing at 3 o'clock. I tried to push it back. I was like, oh, I'll go back. Oh, fucking hell, it hurt.
Oh my God.
And then they had to, like, my mates had to carry me down with the ambulance people. And by the time I got to the bottom, I'd napped an entire bottle of gas and air, and I was laughing my head off, just making jokes about it all. And the people were like, I've never seen anyone get through this so fast. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, that took same. But you recovered a lot quicker than me, didn't you?
Yeah, I was back on within about 6 months.
Yeah.
But mine was...
the ankle, you're on in like 3 months, lad.
Nah, it was longer than that.
My first ride was a month. But it wrecked.
That's keen.
Yeah, well, at the time I was working.
Did you have a cast still on then?
Yeah, an air boot.
I was working.
An air boot.
Yeah, I was working for Enduro Mag, and I was doing articles at the time. And I phoned up Dan Brown. And I said about Harrison Ross, and I said, "Do you reckon they could help me out?" And he goes, "If you'll do some articles on it, they'll do you the treatment for free."
Oh, Sam.
And I've contacted them, and you know what that place is like. It was £90 for half an hour treatment, and I was going there 3 times a week and getting 2 hours, and they were doing it for nothing.
Jeez.
And then I saw this other geezer who did like the laser treatment, and I got back on a bike in a month, and I fucking wrecked. And then another couple of weeks later, Stuart organised this old school meet up at Bike Park Wales, and all the old pro riders come to that, and I rode, and I was on flat pedals, and it was quite sore, and I went down 50 Shades, is it, and I got a bit of sketchy off a drop and slammed my right foot into the ground. Oh my God, the pain. I had to just go and sit in the cafe then, and I was like, what am I doing?
This is how pro Jib was though. He was off the bike with a snapped ankle working for Enduro Mag, and he had a stunt double riding for him. He looked like him. Do you remember that?
No way.
No.
He did an article, and it was, I don't know who it was some bloke rode your bike
that does
for
ring a
you and
bell,
all your
yeah.
kit to like whilst you were off.
Yeah, that does
I remember
ring a bell.
that thinking, what? What is this happening?
For my €500 a month. So, out of all the people, I know I've sent you this, but this is a little bit different. So, you might have to think about this.
Catching you out.
Out of all the people you've filmed, who was your favourite? Firstly, your favourite rider you've been most impressed with, skills-wise, and secondly, person, just character. Like that, whatever the person is, as in like funny or whatever.
Skills-wise, Sam Hill, person, Phil Atwill.
Yeah, we're huge fans of both of those riders, but Phil Atwill is just amazing. Sam Hill is very difficult, I find, to talk to. He's very one-word answer.
Yeah, he's just quite socially quite enclosed. He doesn't really
lets the riders do the talking, doesn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't. But luckily, I've been lucky to do a few projects with him, and like he has opened up a bit. And once he gets going, he's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I know Pagey quite well, and Pagey's told me that, and he said like you get a drink in him as well, and he's like a different person again then.
Yeah.
But Phil Atwill, huge fan of his. Just
Phil's unbelievable. Since the start, actually, I worked with him. Yeah, I've got some dreadful stories about him that I can't repeat on here. But
that BM he drives around is so funny.
Smashed him.
Rattle that BM has.
Is there anybody, I imagine you're going to say no comment, but I'm still going to ask it. Is there anybody you haven't liked working with? Anyone who's a bit like up their own arse?
Put them on the spot.
I don't know if
you can just say Tod if you want. If it's easier, just say Tod because he's not bad.
I don't think there's anyone I've not liked working with. Some people are better than others, but I don't think there's anyone I've come away from thinking, oh my God, you're a dick. Because it's like, I feel like the industry's too small. You can't be a dick to people, or you'll just go around. Yeah, you won't last. Exactly. I don't think some people are a bit, I don't know, some people maybe a bit up their own arse, and I've had some people who just get a bit controlling, like it's like start telling me how to do my job and stuff, and I'm like, right, you're here to do the riding, I'm here to do the filming. Let's just like not cross. I'm not telling you how to.
That sounds a bit like when we're vlogging with Leo, actually. Yeah, you go stand. No,
do you want to scrap?
Actually, no, it's Todd. He's like, no, don't stand there.
He gets annoyed about it.
Yeah, when we go out riding, we have to do like it'll be vlogging, but also have to do their little mini edits for Instagram and that. And I get all these instructions off Todd. You're doing it wrong.
It's because he's so like he needs proper instructions with filming because he'll like. Film you a clip, you go, I can get this and this, and it'll just, he won't pan, and then just film one of the corners. Or like, I've never really got annoyed. The only time I've got properly annoyed is it was a Canuck. I was trying this manual lander, it took like 20 attempts, and on the 20th attempt, he took a photo and didn't film.
Oh my god, you were going to cry.
I wanted to cry. I was like, right, I'll quickly do it again because everyone's waiting, everyone wanted to go, and I was like gassed trying to get this manual lander. I couldn't get it again, and the one time I got it, he took a photo.
Oh, absolutely wounded.
So, out of all the people who are doing what you do, I say all, there's not actually that many, who else would you like to give props to?
Milky, Jacob Gibbons.
Yeah.
He's helped me out a lot, quite a lot of guidance. He's always probably the first person I go to if I need some help.
Yeah.
Nico Turner as well.
I remember in lockdown when he was doing live to ride things.
Yeah.
They were sick.
I think Nico, he just kind of.
He's a nice lad as well. I spoke to him a few times.
He's absolutely amazing, but I just feel like his work ethic and like he just doesn't stop. It's just unbelievable. And then obviously like the likes of Clay and people like that. Clayport has been quite friendly to me, which I never thought would ever happen.
Yeah.
They're the standouts for me, definitely Milky and Nico, I reckon. But then there's loads of others I could mention, like Miles Mallinson and.
Oh, we're riding with him today.
Miles is class, yeah. He's an operator on a bike, isn't he? Like,
yeah.
Miles is class, and then there's loads of other UK filmers like Jim Topless as well. He's a great
lad.
I love the stuff he does.
He's a great lad.
He's so creative. Like, really do envy his creativity sometimes.
I used to ride with him and Callum before Callum's accident.
Yeah.
Callum's such a nice lad as well. I'd like to get him actually to do a podcast with me.
Yeah, get Callum on, that would be good.
Because he's doing all the Olympic rowing now, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah.
He's proper like pro. Did you see him in the Virgin TV ad?
Yeah, and he's
on TV for ages.
On telly.
He's in the main Virgin advert.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
Yeah. We've got to talk about social media and the importance of social media, the importance of it with racers nowadays, how it's almost taken over from results. How much do you use it, and does it annoy you? Would you rather not have it?
I'd definitely rather not have it.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I think it does annoy me, but I think it's at a point where you can't ignore it. It's, for me, I try to stay off it as much as possible.
Yeah,
I just constantly just tell myself to get off my phone. It's not, I don't spend too much time on my phone, but when you get into just a scroll hole, I'm just like, just get off your phone. Yeah. Jesus Christ, like, I just try to stay off as much as possible. I just try get away from screen time where I can.
I find it a bit annoying if sometimes I'll make a mental note to sort of look what's going on in the world when I'm driving or walking through town, and it's like people are robots and it's like their phones are telling them where to go because they're not even looking up. And when you actually think about it and you look round, it's like, holy fuck, what's happened?
Yeah,
what's happened to the world? It's mental.
It's like if you're in a room with your mates or whatever, or you're at the pub, like, if everyone's just on their phones, I'll actively like not be on my phone because I'm just like disgraced. I'm like, Jesus Christ, everyone.
Yeah, I do.
Get off your phone. I'll just sit there just to prove a point. Like,
I like going for, say, me and Cassie and the kids, if we'll ever go for some food somewhere, quite often I'll do the thing where you stack the phones up in the middle.
Yeah, that's a shout.
Don't touch the phones. And I think one of the most annoying things, if you'll see a couple out having a meal and they're not even talking to each other,
They're like Get
both
on
on the
get the
phone.
phone out, take a photo, and then just stay back on the phone. And then chat to each other.
Text each other.
It's something else. But then on the flip side, for me, it's like my main portfolio, and it's very helpful for organising filming. So like, I'd say a large percentage of my filming is sorted through Instagram messaging. So like I'll go on there to sort stuff out, reply to people, and then I'll only post when I've got a new workout. Like I don't want to be on there for any more time. It's like it's great and all, and it gets my workout there noticed, blah blah blah, but I don't just want to be sat there staring.
Yeah.
And like I'll have a little scroll, I'll see what some people are up to, but a lot of the time I just leave that, and I've got my own personal Instagram with just my local friends, and I'll just have a quick look on there.
Yeah, I got pinned, and then my own one is completely different, like totally different. You know, I just see pins, Instagram and Facebook and whatever. It's just an advert to me, just an advert for the latest vlog.
Yeah,
and you know, some of the stuff for products that we'll be promoting, etc. But I wonder if there's ever going to be, you know, everything in life, all fashions, there's always ends up being a kickback. And I hope one day it'll be trendy for kids to go, oh no, we don't use phones.
I don't think it ever will.
I think there might be onto something there.
Yeah, you never know, do you?
I think
a lot of trends leap around.
Like
I know what you
certain
mean.
social medias, like social medias definitely will change all the time. But I think
because it's
people who've grown
so
up with
addictive.
phones now
Are never going to get away from
going to get away from a
I
phone.
I try with Todd and with Purdy, especially with Todd going out riding with me everywhere, is just to get him to like communicate with people good.
Yeah.
And you find that some kids who are just constantly on their phone, they just don't know how to talk to people.
All the social skills.
Just gone.
Well, they never had them in the first place, did they?
Yeah, for a wee. Yeah.
It's on the toilet break. But especially with like people like my age, there's so many. Even there's no handle on the door. Mum, can you open the door?
Cassette to come and let him in.
Like we don't go much, but if we go to like a house party or anything, everyone's just there sat on their phones. Even they'll be talking to each other, but everyone's just sat there on their phone, or they'll like, I don't know, they'll go and film a video and just straight back on their phone. Be all like excited, music on it, fucking dancing around whatever with the phone filming. And as soon as they finish filming, they're just like back like that, posting it, sending to people like that.
Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it?
Everyone's just fabricating what they want people to, to see.
I say that,
not necessarily who they are.
I always like to get clips when I ride, but I don't even do that just because I want them to do well. I like making little edits, and I like seeing how I'm riding and be able more for myself. I go through Instagram, I can scroll through and see, like, you always get it come up, don't you, like 1 year ago today, 2 years ago today, and if you can see an edit I've posted like 1 year ago today and I think, wow, that's shit, then I know that I've
you can see the progressed,
and then it's
I think
it's a good feeling
for the likes of you lot and younger lads. Clips are really handy. I can see why people make these little videos and like all these little edits. Like some lads are really good at making these edits, and like if they're good on the bike as well, then they've got quite a package. They've got the eye for the editing and the filming, and they can ride. Then they've got a good little package going. But I think few people I've noticed, it's like not actually that asked about riding. They just want a clip. They just want a clip to post. Like, it's like I wish people would just go out and ride the bike. I mean, you need your phone in case you have a big. But just don't touch it. Just go and ride, and don't.
Yeah, I'd say half the rides I do, I always would get at least 1 or 2 clips, but it's never we go out to get clips. We'll do a big ride and then last run when we're starting to get knackered.
I've got a thing
media
when we're out. Sort of most rides we film like as a vlog, but I've got a thing where I always say I don't want to be that vlog wanker or that GoPro wanker. So basically, what I mean by that is I never try and stall or stop the ride. If I'm getting stuff on my phone or on a GoPro is just on my chest, so it doesn't affect anyone. But if I'm filming stuff on my phone, it's just literally when we get to the bottom and everyone's buzzing, I'll just film it and I'll ask them some questions. And it's just
tactical.
like we're all chatting and it's just real. But I'll never be like, oh, just go back up there and do that again, because I don't ever. I think that's just A, it's too fake, and B, it just annoys people as well.
They're always like the best moments on a ride, though. I think are like the raw, everyone just gassed after you do it. Like when you get to the bottom of the track and everyone's talking about like how it was. What happened,
Moi Moi does that well.
Everyone's so like excited about it. It's so good just chatting to everyone, and then when you can get that on camera, it catches it good.
And all the balls ups, you know, I noticed some vloggers they'll cut all the balls up, and they take themselves too seriously. They don't want people to see them making mistakes. I'm the other way around. I love people watching all my balls ups.
That's the natural type of stuff that makes these people like look human.
Yeah.
If it's all just like fake and manufactured, just turn off. It's like you don't want to see people balls and stuff up, or it's like, oh, you messed that up, oh, that was funny. Like, it makes people look human, and it's
Jono does that really well.
Yeah.
He crashes and just starts laughing out of like the massive. He'll have
it's
a
like
huge
he likes
and
crashing.
Just start laughing.
Film a video, have a massive crash, and go, oh my god, did that just happen? And just piss himself. But then like, it's also with pros as well. I don't really watch many vloggers, but I like to watch Jack Moyer's stuff, and you see like a different side to the pros, because he's obviously got it on his helmet or whatever filming, but he doesn't tell him that it's filming, and now at the end of the track he keeps it rolling for ages. Sometimes like half the vlog will just be them talking at the bottom of the tracks, and they'll have like, you know, people put stuff on for the camera, don't they? But when people don't know they're being filmed, it's what they're actually like.
That's
and
usually when the best stuff happens.
Yeah, even
definitely.
at the EWS, he goes around at the bottom of the stage and goes around talking to everyone and leaves the GoPro on, chatting to him.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny sometimes. Like, I remember I watched one from the Tweed Valley, and he gets interviewed by Pink Bike at the bottom.
Right.
And halfway through, the bloke filming him notices that the camera's on, and he goes, please can you turn that camera off?
Really?
Yeah. He's like, you're filming. He goes, yeah, I know. He goes, can you turn that off, please?
No way. I think all that natural. Well, that's when you get a lot of the best stuff. Like, I'll just be lurking around, and a lot of people say if it's in the pits or something. When I was working with Rocky, like, I'd just be lurking around, or I'd mic people up.
Yeah.
And I'd leave it 20 minutes, and they'd forget they got the mic on. And so I'm stood like 20 foot away, but I'm like zoomed in on them. I can hear everything they say. And then they just come out with great stuff that's, sometimes you can't use it, but a lot of the time it's just natural, funny stuff, and that's what people want to see. Like,
I watched the Vital Raw with Reddin and like the lads on, and that was quite funny how you got, you know, they're watching back on the clips, taking the piss out of each other and everything. It's good.
That was a dangerous day.
It's good. I know Finn quite well. He's a nice lad.
Is he on the Spesh?
Yeah.
I always like to ask people who are on what they think about e-bikes.
Yeah.
Have you gone down the e-bike route yet? You must have borrowed one for your filming a few times.
Yeah, the top line of my note here under e-bikes is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Now that I think obviously they had a lot of opposition at the start, because it was, I don't know, it was a lot of change, it was a big thing, people obviously opposed it, but everyone who says they don't like them has not rode one. Like,
no,
they're definitely different. Like, I find I've lent one off Nuke Proof, which has been really handy, very handy for filming and as a tool to get around. But then, like, they do ride differently. And I prefer the way in acoustic rides, for sure.
I'd never go full e-bike, but there's definitely a place for e-bikes.
No,
They're so good.
Full retard.
There's definitely a place. It's just controlling the weight for me. I don't really like. I like the lighter bike.
You should try a lightweight one, like an SL type bike.
I've never tried a.
They're like the same weight. It's nuts.
Yeah, the SL. The Spesh is 500 grams heavier than my Rocky Altitude.
They're meant to ride even
I've got
better.
a heavy build on it, like,
because it's like grip with the weight. It's not enough grip to like unsettle the bike and make it ride different, but it's enough to have more grip around corners and for braking.
Yeah.
So they're meant to be like mint.
I think there's two people who don't like e-bikes. There's two types. The one can't afford it, and the other one has never tried one.
Yeah,
And that's it.
I think you're right there. I think on the subject of money, like they're at a point. People might just be annoyed that they're that expensive.
They are,
because to get a good spec e-bike, you got to spend a lot of money. And if you get a bad spec one, it's not going to be great.
No.
Like,
and if you ride them a lot, they cost quite a lot to run as well.
Absolutely.
Nail tyres and rear cassettes and chains.
The mid-spec Vitus e-bike now that's still got like decent rock structures is like $3,500. They're really cheap at the moment, but it's $3,500 still a lot of money. But I think that's the best value for money you can get with an e-bike.
Vitus are on a bit of a flyer at the minute. Everyone says that about the e-bikes.
Yeah, they ride good as well.
Yeah, but I think they ride differently. For me, it's just controlling the weight more. I definitely ride it quite a bit differently. That's probably just me being a bit of a squid. It's not necessarily.
Yeah, I've had people say that to me about the weight of them, they're different, blah blah, and I'm like, well, for like 5-6 years I raced motorbike enduros, and they were 140 kilos.
Right.
Like, yeah, but that was heavy. But, that's like you struggle to pick them up when you drop them, so they don't feel that bad. But I've yet to try a lightweight, and I really want to try a lightweight e-bike.
Yeah, I'd love to have a go.
You get quite a lot of arm pump, I find, on e-bikes. Well, I do anyway. Whenever I ride,
you're braking more though. You're braking harder.
Yeah.
That's because your arms are like 18 foot long as well.
What's that got to do with it?
I see Jersey T on his story all the time, posting all them e-bike memes.
He is.
The one that made me, I was pissing myself at, was like e-bikers doing his off-season training, going up the escalator.
Who's that fat geezer we follow from America?
That normal MTV.
Do you follow it?
No,
he's
no.
brilliant. He's really funny. It's just all little comedy clips.
Nice.
It's so funny.
He was eating cereal out of his frame storage.
Out of the swap box.
He's huge. Is he 6'6"?
Yeah, and he's like weighs almost 400 pounds or something. He's massive.
Oh, I don't work in pounds. What's that in stone?
I don't know, but he's American,
A lot.
so that's all I know.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the new format of the downhill World Cup Enduro and World Cup downhill?
Good words.
Yeah, I know.
I think everyone's hesitant because it's the transition year and it's full of unknowns, it's full of questioning. But I think in the long run, I'm optimistic. I think it's going to be good. I think this year's going to be interesting. I think Discovery and ESO are going to do a good job. The heart's in the right place. They know where they want to go with it. I think as long as they work with the riders and everyone else, the media, I think it's going to be pretty good.
What about commentators? Any ideas?
I've heard a few things.
I had an idea, and I don't know if I'm probably totally wrong, but when we were at Hardline, I said to Jono, I said, you'd be good for that. And I saw Deeks give him a bit of a funny look, and I was like, have I just...
Yeah, apparently
is there something there?
I don't know.
You might. I've heard 3 other names.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. All of which could be interesting.
I heard a load of people trying to hype up getting Wim Masters to do it.
Yeah, as one of them.
Yeah.
You just don't want anyone out of mountain biking that is he's going alright.
He hit that corner.
Yeah.
He hit it, yeah.
I don't think they
he's
would.
pedalling.
No, they'd never do that.
They couldn't. But apart from that, this whole World Cup semi-final thing, I think they're going to scrap that.
I think that's quite good.
Nah, that's stupid. You can't be that consistent.
I think
because you can't fluke it. Then you have got to be a real good rider. It's good and bad.
With the semi-finals, I think they've been. I don't know this, but I feel like they've been quite heavily opposed by riders.
It's too much
because look how many of the top boys are getting injured as is.
Yeah.
You add in another run, more people are going to get injured.
Yeah.
And think about track degradation. This year, some of those tracks just fell apart.
Yeah.
Another run, another 700, 800. I don't know how many more runs.
I don't know.
A few hundred more runs, it's going to get absolutely destroyed. So I personally think they're going to backtrack on that.
Yeah.
But whether they can this late in the game,
What about the the lycra thing.
No, I don't
You
think
don't
that.
have to wear lycra. You can though, but there will be a lot of people doing it.
And peakless, aren't they talking about going peakless again?
No, it's not saying that you are going. They're just saying
you
they
can.
can allow it, but I don't think people will.
I think they'll get
Nah,
a
you'll
lot of
have-
stick if they end
you'll
up
have
going
some people
peakless
doing it.
again.
This is the first I've heard of either of those
Yeah,
things.
I can't even remember who I heard this.
I
off.
heard it off Leo, and I told you.
Leo, where
Well-
did you hear it, or have you dreamt it,
Nah, there's been talk of it. And
or is it
I'm
because
pretty
you're
sure-
going to do
You can't
junior
really say who
World
told you.
Cups?
I know who told you, but
Yeah,
you can't really
you can't really
name
say.
drop.
But yeah, there was talk of it. Like lycra might come back into.
But I think
God.
they've made the EWS more of like an elite thing, haven't they? They made it harder to get into because it's
You mean the World Cup?
no the EWS now.
Oh, right,
Like
yes.
the
EWS is a World Cup now.
yeah, it's a World Cup now, and you need. They put it up. You need 150 points instead of 50 now, don't they? Or 120.
Yeah,
something to
because
qualify.
Riley can't do it now.
And
I've seen
they,
that.
they've had a lot of complaints because I think they've removed all the qualifiers in America. So if you live in North or South America, you got like
Kind of screwed.
no way of getting into EWS unless you fly abroad. But I don't really know. I think it's the first time. It's the first year where it's been like that. There's going to be stuff that's wrong, but then people will complain, and then it'll
Yeah, I feel
all get
like-
changed.
There might be a few seasons here where there's some teething problems. It
Yeah.
depends how much they've got their shit together, which at the moment doesn't seem. I don't know. I'm just on the outside looking in, but everything's been announced quite late. People
Yeah.
are in the dark. Like some teams don't even know whether to book on to like the World Cup.
There's also financial issues, isn't there? Everyone's like tightening the belt buckles and
tightening budgets. The fees have gone up and all this kind of stuff. The prize money, did that change? I don't think it changed
I don't
much.
think so.
Yeah, it's way underpaid.
They
It's
still
like 3K,
haven't,
isn't it, for a win in a
They
World
still
Cup?
haven't announced any of the qualifiers for this year for like EWS. Any of the UK qualifying races, they haven't announced any. So,
Yeah,
like,
I heard a few privateers were like still waiting, like literally want to sort their whole year out and race it as a privateer, but they just
They
just
can't-
don't know if they
yeah.
can yet and all this
Wow.
kind of stuff. It's
But I think
the EWS is gonna. I think the EWS is class. I think it's still gonna be good, but the things I'm kind of worried about is like on the same when they've got the full weeks, when they've got the EWS and the downhill and all these events on in the same week. Like the EWS is gonna have to run like quite early in the week, and I think it's gonna get overshadowed by the downhill at the weekend. And think
Yeah.
all the spectators are gonna come out the weekend. So if the EWS is on in the midweeks, like I feel like spectators might be down. And
Yeah.
I feel like it might be like midweek crowds versus weekend
and
crowds.
there's still a lot of riders who do both,
How
and that's
knackered-
going to be
how
a
knackered
big
are they gonna
week.
be?
Yeah, like Moya still does a lot of the World Cups. I think
Well,
he
he
did
didn't
all
do
of them this year.
No, he didn't do.
Eddie does a lot of World Cups. Matt Walker,
Yeah.
Bernard. Well, he did some, maybe the odd EWS, but well, and like I think Eddie and Matt Walker were doing quite well in both. Is that
Yeah,
right?
but I think the one thing that is real good that they've said they'll do is broadcast the juniors with the downhill. That's
yeah,
really
top
good.
10 in it.
yeah, you might get on telly, Leo.
But I watched the other thing though. I forgot to mention was like they done with the semi-final. I don't know if they'll get rid of it, but you get guaranteed spots in the final, and the top 5 overall finishers from last year have a guaranteed spot in the semi-final.
Right.
But there's only 10 spots, so really there's only, unless you're in the top 5 last year, there's only 5 spots you could
to
get
compete for.
to even get a result.
Okay.
But then also like them 5 riders who were guaranteed, it was Bruni, Piron, Bernard, Andy Kolb and Vergier. They'll have so much pull for brands now
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're like, well, I'll be in every final this year guaranteed unless I have a massive crash.
And like you said before about the downhill, like the pay drop off that was apparent in that pink bike state of the sport thing they've done. That's just gonna like add fuel to the fire for the top 5% earning more of the money. They're just gonna earn even more now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
It's nuts, isn't
clued up.
We'll all have to be
It's the thing
applying
with,
to OnlyFans.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I might just go direct to you porn.
Bit taxi next for me.
What would you advise any newcomers to film making? What would your advice be to them? Don't know why I said that twice, but it sounded better.
I think the two important things I would say is don't worry about getting the best kit.
Yeah.
I would say get a camera as long as it's reasonable or okay, you're fine. It's more about the subject or the rider or what's going on or the idea or the story. It's all about that. If you can capture it well, then you're onto something. You can go and spunk X amount on a fancy camera, and you probably won't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you'll get there. Like, don't jump the gun. Like I'd never really had that good kit in the early days. I was under-cameraed for a long time, and it took me a while to figure that out. I was the other end of the spectrum. I was like, I didn't have good enough kit for a long time. But yeah, just don't worry about the kit. Just get something decent and...
Why you can watch an hour long, say like Sprung or something. You can still watch as much of that, and you don't think, "Oh, this is really bad quality." And any camera you're going to buy now, that's no matter how cheap it is, a modern camera is going to be way higher quality than that.
You
that
can
will
use a
be.
phone.
Yeah, and phones are so high quality now.
New iPhones are insane.
What do you think of that filming on phones?
What, on phones?
Is that like?
No, it's a
shamed
completely...
upon?
No, it's a separate... it's kind of a separate entity to what I'm doing. Phones and like phone clips have been really handy to help promote certain projects I've done. Like that clip of Ronan, you seen that phone clip where he goes like, he did that 7 times for
That
my
fly
camera
off thing.
and then he did it another time just for the phone clip, and that phone clip helped promote the whole thing because then people realised, oh, this is linked. So phone clips are helpful in that sense. And
Did his shock blow up and that? Or
no,
was it alright?
it's just the bike making a note. Like it was just basically bottoming out
I knew
every
it
time.
was seat buzz, but I was amazed. Like nothing broke. That was so huge.
No, he did that. Well, like I say, 7 times for
That's
the camera.
nuts.
Progressively bigger each time till we got the shot.
The reason I said about you watching that film on any Sunday is I still think to this day a UK filmmaker needs to do something similar to that in mountain biking, and like there's not much point telling you much more about it till you've watched it, but just if you do watch it, you think, oh, that could be quite cool. I just think it'd be really nice to like follow maybe a certain group of people around their racing throughout the world or the UK for a year. It'd be really cool. It'd take a lot of doing, but I
think there's plenty of scope for doing stuff like that. Yeah, it's like I want to keep making films, and I would like to keep making films all the way through my 30s. So there's still a lot of time for really cool stuff to come out.
Yeah. Where do you see it? I mean, like the last question, almost.
Can I just add something else to that new filmers? But I was saying like it's important now because there's so much media out there. Like find and craft your own style. Like you won't find it straight away. Just go and just play around and just see what you like, and then when you find it, try and nail it down and try and be consistent with that style and get known for that. Because like some people I've known, you like jumping about from this to this and this, and then it's like
just trying different styles,
and it's like that's good and all because you're trying to find. There's always a period of that trying to find what you want, but like jumping from this to this, and it's like, wait, what do you?
You
like,
need
do
to
here?
actually
you
eventually
need to, like, nail it
settle
down
into one
and commit to it and run with it, kind of thing. It's like I could probably, like, I know I can shoot in different styles and go and do that kind of stuff, but I know people probably don't. I probably won't do it as good as other people, and I probably, if I wanted that, I'd just get my mate in and pay him to do it. It's like I know what I can do well, and so I think that's basically it.
So in the future, what do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in the future doing this?
Like I say, I can see myself doing this well into my 30s because I've been self-employed since 16.
I like the way
now.
you think that into your 30s is like dead old, and I'm 52 in a couple of weeks.
I don't know. I wouldn't plan that far ahead. I know this will go on into my 30s. I might make another set of films and then be like, right, I'm happy with that, I'm done, I'm out. Yeah. or I might just keep going. Look at the likes of Rankin, he's still going. And
Yeah.
He does some sick stuff with the 51 boys, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like
Alex.
I've not lost the spark for it. I'm not even close, so I'll just keep going and going. I'm working on a wave of like momentum. So
I messaged him today to
He
try
does
and
stuff
get
outside though, doesn't he? Of
yeah, I think
bikes.
so. I've not really spoke to him.
He's
that
like a
much,
proper how do you say it?
Cinematographer.
I can't get the words out. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to get a question off him, but I left it too late. I only did it like a few hours ago. He hasn't replied. Thought it'd be quite cool to get him to ask you a question.
I'd be ace, but it's the like. Absolutely love what he does, but and like I say, I've not watched any of his films until only 2018, and never really spoken to him or anything. I've never met him or anything. I'd love to
He's a nice guy.
Pick his
Lovely
brains
guy.
a bit, but it's just yeah. But apart from that, we're definitely going to be doing Tea and Biscuits 3.
Brilliant.
Going to probably start planning that this year and maybe start shooting it next year, because we really, really want to go to town on it. So like lots of foreign sections with big riders, and because now we know it's going to be obviously end of a trilogy. It's going to be the third one, so we really, really want to go to town. But that means a lot of planning. Probably the best part of like 2 years filming.
Wow.
The Tea and Biscuits 2 was 16 months end to end.
Jesus Christ.
Which is, well, nearly a year and a half. Tea and Biscuits 2 is probably going to be like 2 years filming, and probably like 2025 release, which is pretty wild to think about, but that's how long when like we need to do this year of planning, because we need to make sure we get the budget and all that kind of stuff.
So anyone who wants to follow you, do you want to give them your social tags now that we've said how much we don't really like social media?
On Instagram it's Tommy C _ Insta, and then Facebook I still run my Facebook page, Caldwell Visuals.
There's something I meant to say at the beginning, actually. I've got to say it now. It's just, it always used to confuse me before I knew who you were, was because we were mates with Tom Caffrey.
Yeah.
And we've done some filming with him and done
He's a good
podcasts. And I remember in the old days, I didn't know who was who out of you and him on Instagram. I was like, hang on, which is it? I get that confused, but I know now, obviously.
Yeah, it's a question I get asked a lot. It's like, I think I was filming with Ant. I think he was up the Reekin.
Yeah, because he's mates with Ant, isn't he?
Yeah, he's real good mates with Ant. And I was up there with Ant on e-bikes, and then we messaged him, and he told us, like, we were looking for this track or this section of track, and he told us exactly where it was. He was nothing but nice, like, class lad. But I think early on there was a little bit of, like, he came along and I was like, why is there someone with the same name? It's like, obviously you can't pick your name, but I was like, this is a small industry, and the media industry is really small with mountain bikes. It's like, you can't choose your name, but like, come on, like.
I've had that with two people now. I've had since we started Pinned. There was a clothing company that's still going now called Pinned Attire. People were like, "Is that your brand?" I'm like, "No, nothing to do with me."
I know.
I'm definitely not taking this as my slogan, because it's been about for years and years. But our slogan was like, "Keep it pinned." And then
Louis Pilgrim, it was his
Louis
brother.
Pilgrim put some caps for sale with "Keep it pinned" on.
But they were like the same colour and everything as all.
I messaged him. To be fair, I messaged him and said, like, what's going on here, and he stopped doing it.
Oh, interesting.
And then
maybe he didn't.
It was a complete coincidence.
No, it was total coincidence. He's a nice lad. And then the last one was at the Malverns this year, and then there's like some pedals come out called Pinned, but without the E on the end.
I've seen them. Yeah, I've seen them.
I was like, you should sponsor us just because of that. And the bloke was like, no.
It's an interesting one. You obviously can't choose your name. And
no.
It's more a case of just being respectful for people in the industry, because I think what the other Tommy C is doing is great with his vlogging and stuff. Like, he can go and do that. That's whatever. That's brilliant. But I think early on, everyone was asking me, like, who's this guy? And everyone like, I think he was getting likes and clicks because people thought it was me.
Ah, right.
Which
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, at first I was like, what? Don't just piggyback off someone else's name. It's like, there's loads of other names you could have picked. And I know there's Tommy C's everywhere in the world, but like, within bikes and stuff, it's like, let's just, I don't know how to say it. It's a difficult one to like tackle, but, and I'd love to properly meet him, go for a ride with him. I'd love to have a chat with him.
He's a hell of a rider, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's so brilliant rider. Yeah. We've done quite a lot with it. When his channel was relatively smallish, that video I was on about at Dovey, that was our first real biggie. He did that with us.
He had like 2,000 then.
Yeah, and we were on what, 6 or something at the time. And then since then he's got like more subscribers than us, and so fair play to him.
No, fair play for him. The whole vlogging thing's interesting. I think it's an outlet that people have discovered, and people make it work.
Yeah.
So, and I've not got a problem with it because I don't really watch vloggers, to be honest. But
same here. I don't really.
Yeah.
I love doing it, and we all like it. And
Well, fun's a hobby, really.
And we've been doing it. God, I've been doing it since 2016 now. Like a bit like.
That's 7 years ago.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
nuts.
it's mental, isn't it? So we're sort of one of the original UK people, and obviously. It used to annoy me a bit when the pros would slag off the vloggers, and then COVID come along, and then all the pros became vloggers, and then they're like, "Oh no, it's cool now." I bet it is.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
No, it's an interest. I think done right, it's a smart way for extra income. Like, and I think there's some great ones out there, but
why not?
There's a lot of clickbait. That's,
I always try and avoid the clickbait titles and pictures. You know, it's got to be in the video. You know, when you say I jumped off a 100-foot chasm and it was a curb.
Yeah,
it's just obvious bullshit.
I think because there's so much out there. I think a lot of people are desperate for the attention and the approval from other people, and I think they'll do anything it takes to get that, and it kind of, and then a lot of the time these awful clickbait videos get all the attention, and then the actual good video just gets lost in the YouTube world. But
Say we don't do clickbait in the video that went out last night. I had a clickbait title, but more taking the piss, because it's there's a section in the video where we're taking the piss, and I'm filming Leo's going, yeah, so if anyone doesn't know, I'm actually the national champ. I put in the title like getting sketchy with the national champ,
it's not clickbait though, is it, really?
Big circle around his head. Is he the champ? But I'll only do stuff like that if it's like a piss take, and it's not even really clickbait. I am actually riding.
As long as we were talking earlier, as long as you got humour and you can have a laugh, I don't think it matters. It's when people take themselves too serious and try and pretend they're amazing riders, and you know, I'm first to put my hands up and say I'm crap compared to all these lot.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a squid, to be fair, but I'll give it a good go.
So I think that's about it, mate. I'm absolutely buzzing that you come down, and really appreciate it.
No bother at all.
Keep doing what you're doing. Stuff's amazing.
Nice one. Yeah, we'll keep going. We've got a few more films to make yet, and a few more.
So
projects.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, check out his films, and thanks a lot, and see you soon, everyone.
Thank you.
No bother. Thank you very much.